In a world obsessed with success, Stoic philosophy reminds us that true strength lies not in controlling life, but in mastering ourselves. When the storm arrives, the weak seek shelter, but the Stoic learns to stand in the rain. They do not flee from pain. They turn it into their teacher. They do not crave comfort. They find peace in right action. From Epictetus, the slave, to Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, they prove that resilience is not born from status, but from an unbroken mind. And when one learns to remain calm amid chaos, they achieve not just success, but freedom, the one thing no power can ever take away. Throughout the turbulent history of humankind, there have been philosophies untouched by the erosion of time, because they reach into the deepest corners of the human soul. Stoicism is one of them, not because it promises happiness, but because it teaches us how to stand tall when happiness leaves us. Amid crumbling cities, the clash of swords, and the ashes of war, the Stoic spirit still burns quietly like a small flame in the endless night. It does not seek to chase away the darkness, but teaches us to see through it, to recognize the light that has always existed within. When the world kneels before adversity, Stoicism reminds us we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we choose to respond to it. Success, in the Stoic view, is not a result, but a state of mind. It is not measured by wealth, fame, or applause, but by the ability to remain calm amid chaos. A person may lose everything, money, position, even freedom, but if they preserve clarity and integrity, they have achieved true success. Epictetus once said, "We cannot control the wind, but we can adjust the sails." And in every storm of life, it is resilience that keeps one's ship steady upon the restless sea. When we look back at the Stoic philosophers, we see not men blessed by fortune. Epictetus was born a slave, Seneca was exiled, and Marcus Aurelius bore the weight of a collapsing empire. Yet, in those seemingly darkest hours, they still found light. They proved that peace is not something external. It resides within a disciplined mind. Even when their bodies were chained, their spirits remained free. Amid chaos, they wrote the most luminous words ever penned about steadfastness and human dignity. In our modern age, when people chase external symbols of success, big houses, luxury cars, prestigious careers, Stoicism calls us back to the fundamental question: what do we truly control? The answer is simple yet profound: only ourselves. Everything else is illusion. Therefore, instead of measuring success by what we possess, we should measure it by how calmly we face loss, how bravely we begin again, and how honorably we act when no one is watching. Perhaps the greatest lesson of Stoicism is this: circumstances do not make the person, character does. Storms merely reveal the foundation upon which we stand. If that foundation is built on conviction and self-belief, then no matter how the wind changes, we remain unshaken. True success is not found in what we avoid, but in what we overcome. Like a mountain standing firm through the tempest, the more we endure, the stronger and clearer we become. And through it all, resilience is the one thing that cannot be borrowed. It must be forged in the very adversity we dare to face. Courage is not something born in comfort, but the result of endurance and self-control. Stoicism teaches that a person truly matures only when they learn to stand firm in the storm, not when the seas are calm. Every hardship does not come to destroy us, but to test how well we understand ourselves. When someone can face adversity without complaint, without blame, and quietly ask, "What can I do better?" that is when they ascend to the highest level of self-mastery. Because in Stoic philosophy, self-mastery is the foundation of freedom, and freedom is the root of happiness. We cannot choose our circumstances, but we can choose our thoughts. Epictetus once said that if a person fears adversity, they have already failed before acting. But if they face adversity with calm and reason, then no matter the outcome, they are victorious. It is the control of emotion, not the control of circumstance, that defines the strength of one's character. And that is why Stoicism endures through the ages. It does not depend on the times we live in, but on the attitude with which we live. In the modern world, people can lose their peace over a message, a judgment, or a small failure on social media. We live in an ocean of information, where waves of exaggerated emotion constantly buffet our minds. Yet Stoicism teaches a simple and powerful truth. No one can hurt us unless we allow them to. No one can take away our peace if we truly master our minds. True strength does not lie in conquering the world, but in keeping one's inner calm amid the noise of life. Marcus Aurelius, during long years of war on the Roman frontier, wrote in Meditations that everything we encounter in life is a lesson from nature, sent to help us grow. If someone insults us, it is an opportunity to practice patience. If we lose something, it is a chance to learn detachment. And if life seems unjust, that is where we practice virtue. For virtue is not what we say. It is how we live when no one is watching. Stoicism does not promise to make life easier. It makes us stronger. It does not calm the storm, but teaches us to steer through it. And on that journey, courage is not cold hardness, but the deep stillness of one who understands that even in an impermanent world, dignity and reason remain the soul's final refuge. The Stoic does not run from emotion. They simply refuse to be ruled by it. And for that reason, they move forward with a steadfast heart, free, serene, and unafraid. Stoicism views life as a vast river, where each person is merely a rower upon its surface. We cannot control the current, but we can control how we hold the oar. Sometimes the waters are calm, other times they rage with waves. And it is precisely in those turbulent bends that a person's true strength is revealed. The weak curse the flow for not bending to their will, while the strong quietly adjust their course and continue forward. In Stoic philosophy, acceptance does not mean surrender. It means understanding that true power lies in mastering one's own response. When one learns to face adversity with serenity, they uncover a profound truth. Every hardship carries a hidden gift. Sometimes, what seems like loss actually brings us something far greater: clarity, courage, or renewed faith in ourselves. The philosopher Seneca once said, "No wind is favorable to a ship that does not know its destination." Therefore, instead of praying for calm seas, learn to command the helm. Success is not born of luck, but of the ability to keep balance amid the storms of life. In today's world, many fear failure so deeply that they never begin. But for the Stoic, failure is simply an inevitable part of growth. They understand that no strength is forged in comfort. Just as steel hardens only through fire, the human spirit becomes steadfast only through trial. It is when everything collapses that we discover what is real. And when we rise from ruin, we emerge as a stronger version of ourselves. The greatest danger is not in losing, but in refusing to face loss. The Stoic chooses to look directly at fear, to understand it rather than flee from it. They know that only by touching the darkness can one find the light. It is this courage that allows them to remain calm in moments others call disaster. For within every tragedy lies an opportunity to evolve. With a mind strong enough, suffering becomes wisdom, and brokenness becomes power. Success, therefore, is no longer a distant destination, but a way of being. It lives in every moment we stay calm, in every choice of reason over anger, in every breath of gratitude over complaint. The Stoic does not wait for happiness. They create it by mastering themselves. Once this truth is understood, every circumstance becomes a chance to strengthen the spirit, and every challenge becomes a step toward true inner freedom. There is one truth the Stoic philosophers always emphasized. No one can hurt us unless we allow them to. Real pain does not come from the actions of others, but from the way we interpret them. When someone insults us, it is only sound, meaningless noise, until we allow it to pierce the mind, turning it into a wound. Epictetus taught that it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our thoughts about them. And when we truly understand this, we become free. For the one who masters their thoughts holds the power to shape reality itself. The strength of the mind lies in its ability to redefine every event. A person who loses their job may see it as failure, but they can also see it as the beginning of renewal. One betrayed may choose bitterness, but they can also choose forgiveness, freeing themselves from the prison of the past. Stoicism does not teach us to deny emotion. It teaches us to view emotion through the lens of reason. When the mind is illuminated, pain is no longer a prison, but a teacher. And in the classroom of life, those who listen to their pain grow the fastest. The modern world easily traps people in a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. We want more, faster, stronger, yet rarely stop to ask whether we truly need all that we chase. Stoic philosophy reminds us that freedom is not having everything, but being bound by nothing. When we no longer rely on praise to feel joy, when we no longer fear loss to feel peace, when happiness arises from within rather than without, that is when we touch true freedom. The Stoic does not try to control the world, they control themselves. And paradoxically, that is what gives them the greatest influence over the world. Those who master themselves act with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion. In an age where everything moves so fast that people forget to think, the ability to pause, observe, and respond with intention becomes a rare and powerful strength. True strength does not lie in always winning, but in never letting defeat corrupt one's character. When we understand this deeply, we begin to see life differently. We no longer resent hardship, for we know it forges our strength. We no longer fear loss, for we know that what truly belongs to us, our dignity, our reason, our compassion, can never be taken away. Success, in the light of Stoicism, is no longer about outward glory, but inner tranquility. And once a person finds that stillness, they no longer need to prove anything, for they themselves have become living proof of the power of the human spirit. On the journey towards success, people often forget that true strength does not lie in controlling outcomes, but in mastering their actions. The Stoic lives by a simple rule: do what is right and let fate decide the rest. They believe we cannot control the wind, but we can adjust the sails. When one pours their whole heart into doing the best they can, fear of the future fades away. For the only thing we truly own is the present, and how we live in each moment defines our character. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This is not a call to surrender, but a reminder of harmony between human and nature. When we stop fighting what is beyond our control, we save our energy for what we can change. The Stoic does not try to change the world to find peace. They change themselves to be at peace within the world. And in doing so, they become the still center within life's storm. Strength does not come from muscle or power, but from the ability to stand firm when everything around collapses. The strong are those who remain calm when misunderstood, kind when betrayed, and faithful when all seems lost. This is not cold hardness. It is steadiness born from deep understanding that all things shall pass. Like the flowing river that never stops, pain too will fade, leaving only those who learn to flow with it without losing themselves. The modern world teaches people to run faster, climb higher, go farther, but few teach them how to stand still without breaking. That is the lesson of Stoicism. Only when we pause can we hear the voice within. Only when the mind is still can we see our direction clearly. In an age obsessed with fame and comparison, to remain calm is an act of courage. Strength is not shouting above the crowd. It is the quiet confidence to stay true to one's path without needing approval. And that is the deepest meaning of success in Stoicism. Not to conquer the world, but to remain untouched by it. To not let the world strip away one's best nature. Success is to rise after failure, to keep kindness amid injustice, and to hold faith in what is right, even when standing alone. When one reaches that state, they are not only successful in the eyes of others, but in their own eyes, where peace, dignity, and strength unite as one. People often believe they fail because circumstances are too harsh, the times are unfavorable, or external forces are too powerful. But Stoic philosophy teaches that what breaks a person is not the weight of fate, but the way they carry it. When the mind is weak, even a pebble becomes a boulder. When the mind is strong, even a mountain becomes just another step to climb. True strength does not come from avoiding hardship, but from facing it with calm resolve, as if adversity itself were sent to test us. The Stoic knows that no glory endures without perseverance, and no failure is final unless we give up. Epictetus once said, "No one can make you miserable unless you allow it." The phrase seems simple, yet it forms the foundation of inner power. When a person realizes that their emotions are not controlled by the world, but by their own thoughts, they hold the key to freedom. One can live amid chaos and still be at peace, lose everything, yet remain unbroken. For they understand that the only thing that truly belongs to them is their own response. Everything else, money, fame, affection, can be taken away, but dignity never can. In today's turbulent world, people are easily caught in the spiral of expectation. We are taught that a person's worth lies in results, status, and the opinions of others. But Stoicism reveals a far simpler truth. True worth lies in how we live, not in what we achieve. A person may reach glory through deceit, but that is not success. It is illusion. Meanwhile, someone who fails in the eyes of the world yet keeps their integrity is the true victor in the light of reason. For in the end, peace of mind is the only real measure of success. Seneca once wrote, "No one is unhappy who lives in harmony with nature." This means that when a person aligns themselves with the natural order of life, accepting what cannot be changed, they find serenity. Each of us has a role written by fate, and instead of cursing it, Stoicism teaches us to perform it well. If life places us in poverty, let it teach humility. If it grants us power, let it test our integrity. Every role has its purpose, and true character lies in holding one's virtue regardless of where one stands in the play of life. Stoicism also reminds us that everything in this world is transient. Fame, wealth, power, even life itself. Awareness of impermanence does not make one pessimistic. It makes one awake. When we know tomorrow may never come, we learn to cherish today. When we understand that all things may fade, we love more sincerely, live more simply, and focus on what truly matters: kindness, honesty, and faith in goodness. The Stoic does not strive to extend life. They strive to make each day meaningful. And that is what makes them immortal in spirit. For by embracing their limits, they transcend them, living in harmony with the world, neither defeated nor arrogant, quietly shining amid the trials of existence. In the whirlwind of modern times, when people are constantly pressured to prove their worth through achievements, praise, and numbers, Stoic philosophy stands like a quiet lighthouse amid a raging sea. It reminds us that no one can make us greater than the way we live each day. The world may celebrate the victors, but Stoicism honors those who can lose without losing their dignity. True strength is not about always winning, but about being able to lose with honor. The Stoic walks with the conviction that their value does not depend on others' gaze, but on their ability to live rightly, even when no one is watching. When people seek validation, they become slaves to others' opinions. They live to be praised, to be accepted, to avoid being left behind. But Stoicism teaches that only when we dare to live without applause do we become truly free. Freedom does not mean doing everything we want. It means being bound by nothing. The Stoic can live among the crowd, yet remain as still as a quiet lake. They can be criticized, yet respond without anger. They observe, understand, and continue their path. For they know that real strength is the ability to stay calm amid noise. Epictetus once compared life to a play, where each of us is given a role to perform. No one chooses their part, but everyone chooses how to play it. Some play the poor, others the rich. Some are kings, others are slaves. But what matters is not the role itself. It is how truthfully we perform it. The Stoic does not demand a different script. They simply aim to play their part well. When circumstances change, they do not complain, for they understand every role is temporary, but character is eternal. In a world driven by speed and comparison, people often forget that peace does not come from having more, but from wanting less. Stoicism teaches the art of enough. Enough to not crave, enough to not fear, enough to stay free from what lies beyond control. When we learn to stop at the right time, we discover that life has always been sufficient. The strong are not those who have everything, but those who know they don't need everything. They are not ruled by desire, they rule over it, and that is the hardest victory a human being can achieve. Such strength is not forged in a single day, but in the small choices made every day. Choosing silence over anger, patience over complaint, compassion over resentment. These victories are never written in gold, but they are engraved deep within the soul. The Stoic knows that the battle to conquer oneself never ends, but it is the only battle worth fighting. And when a person can look into the mirror each morning without regret for their actions, they have already succeeded, not in the eyes of the world, but in the light of their own soul. There is a simple yet profound truth at the heart of Stoic philosophy. Life owes us nothing. Everything we have, health, love, work, reputation, is temporary, borrowed, not owned. When we see everything as a gift rather than an entitlement, we learn gratitude instead of resentment. The Stoic does not expect life to be fair, for they understand that fairness is a human illusion. The world follows its own natural order, and whether we are happy or not depends on how we choose to receive it. Strength lies in the ability to give thanks even in loss, for in losing, we still gain insight into ourselves. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "When you wake up in the morning, remember that you will meet selfish, ignorant, ungrateful people, but love them anyway, for they are human, just like you." This is not only a lesson in compassion, but also an affirmation of mental strength. The strong do not let others' actions dictate their emotions. They understand that anger is punishment we inflict on ourselves for the faults of others. Instead of reacting, they observe. Instead of judging, they understand. And through that calm, they preserve their inner freedom in a chaotic world. Stoicism teaches that people suffer only when they cling to what was never truly theirs. We want everything to go our way: the weather, other people, the outcomes. And when it doesn't, we suffer. But when we learn to let go, the burden lightens. Letting go is not giving up. It is accepting that we can control our actions, not the results. The strong are not afraid to release what is beyond their grasp, because they trust that what leaves their life no longer belongs to their path. Peace begins the moment we stop resisting what is. In the modern world, people are driven by external forces: status, social media, the eyes of others, until they forget the voice within. They live to be praised, to be seen, and when attention fades, they feel empty. But Stoic philosophy brings us back to the center of being, inner autonomy. When we no longer need the world's approval, we become invincible. With nothing to lose and nothing to prove, we are free. And in that freedom, we can live fully, not to be admired, but to understand ourselves more deeply each day. Perhaps this is what allows Stoicism to transcend time. It neither promises heaven nor threatens hell. It simply teaches us how to live peacefully amid the ordinary world. The Stoic does not live to escape pain. They live to learn from it. They know that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. When a person can smile in adversity, it is not because they are numb. It is because they have seen the truth, that nothing can harm a soul that remains at peace. True success is when one understands this and lives by it each day, no matter how the world may change. From the moment humans are born, they carry a desire for control, the urge to command fate, the future, others, and even their own emotions. But Stoicism teaches that the only control that truly matters is control over the mind. All suffering begins when we desire something beyond our reach, and all peace begins when we accept what cannot be changed. Epictetus said, "Divide all things into two categories, what you can control and what you cannot." When a person truly understands this, they are freed from most of life's pain. They no longer grow angry at others or curse fate, for they know that as long as they fulfill their duty, the rest can be left to the natural order of the universe. Yet acceptance does not mean resignation. Stoicism teaches us to act wholeheartedly in all things within our power, but without attachment to outcomes. A Stoic soldier fights to his last breath, but does not fear defeat. A Stoic merchant works with integrity, but is not enslaved by profit. A Stoic philosopher continues to teach and write, even if no one listens. For them, the value of action lies not in reward, but in fidelity to what is right. They do not live to be praised. They live so they will never have to feel ashamed of themselves. In modern life, what exhausts people is not work or hardship, but their attachment to results. We study for high grades, work for recognition, love for reciprocation, help others for acknowledgement. But Stoicism reminds us, when our goals depend on others' reactions, we have given them our freedom. Instead, We must learn to do what is right, simply because it is right. When we no longer depend on approval, we are no longer wounded by rejection. The Stoic does not do good to be seen as good. They do good because they cannot do otherwise, because it is in harmony with the nobility of their nature. Seneca once wrote, "When we cease to expect, every moment becomes a gift." That single line captures the spirit of Stoicism. When we stop expecting, we stop being disappointed. When we stop comparing, we stop resenting. When we stop seeking, we begin to see the beauty that has always surrounded us. Happiness does not live in the grand things we lack, but in gratitude for the small things we already have. The strong do not live from a sense of scarcity, but in a quiet fullness, even with little. A good meal, a peaceful morning, a kind word. And finally, Stoicism never separates reason from compassion. Its philosophy is not the coldness of indifference, but the wise tenderness of one who understands life. For anyone who has accepted their own pain with serenity knows how to empathize with the pain of others. True strength is not only the ability to stand firm in solitude, but also to listen, uplift, and bring calm to those in distress. The Stoic does not seek to change the world through power, but through example. By letting every action and every word reflect calmness and kindness. In this way, they become a quiet light, small perhaps, but enough to guide others through the long night of life. In today's world, where everything is measured by speed and results, the Stoic chooses a slower path, the path of awareness, of clarity amid the noise. They understand that success is not about running the fastest, but about moving in the right direction. Many achieve what they desire, only to realize it was never what they truly needed. When we do not know where we are going, every effort becomes meaningless. Stoic philosophy reminds us to ground all our actions in reason, not emotion. Reason does not extinguish the fire of passion. It guides it to burn rightly, bright without destruction, strong without chaos. Epictetus once said, "There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path." To the Stoic, success is not found at the destination, but in the way one walks each day. Every right action, every kind thought, every moment of calm chosen over anger is a small victory. These small victories, accumulated over time, form the foundation of true strength. For strength is not born in moments of glory, but forged in ordinary choices. When we choose patience over complaint, silence over argument, and righteousness even when no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius faced war, rebellion, illness, and loss. Yet in Meditations, he wrote, "If you cannot change the world, change yourself." That single line captures the essence of Stoicism. The strong do not try to bend the world to their will. They shape themselves to live in harmony with it. When the mind is mastered, every circumstance becomes an ally. When we are no longer ruled by the external, every challenge becomes a chance to grow. The world does not need to be lighter. Our minds simply need to be stronger to carry it. The Stoic believes that the greatest power is not in conquering others, but in conquering oneself. Within every person exists two worlds, one of instinct, fear, anger, selfishness, and one of reason, calm, compassion, understanding. The battle between them happens every day, in every small decision. And each time we choose reason over impulse, we step closer to true freedom. For freedom is not doing whatever we want. It is not being ruled by the lesser parts of ourselves. When one lives this way, unshaken by praise or criticism, untouched by fear or desire, they become as steady as a mountain amid the storm. They no longer need to prove, compare, or compete. They simply live, fully and rightly. This is the highest form of success Stoicism seeks. Not power, not glory, but the absolute freedom of the soul. When a person reaches that state, the world can no longer wound them, for they have become the very light that illuminates it. Stoic philosophy is not merely the path of philosophers sitting in silence. It is the philosophy of action, of ordinary people living with steady hearts amid the chaos of life. It teaches that each passing day is a test of character. When misunderstood, can we stay calm? When insulted, can we keep our dignity? When we fail, can we preserve our faith? No one is born strong, but anyone can learn strength by confronting themselves. Stoicism does not make people indifferent. It makes them perceptive. It allows them to see the impermanence of all things, yet still choose love, choose kindness, and choose to do what is right. The Stoic understands that the world will always be full of trials. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he would meet the ignorant, the selfish, the treacherous, but he would not let their actions poison his mind. For only by keeping the mind pure can one stand firm through life's storms. Stoicism teaches a way of living that is both practical and noble. Do not seek to change others. Learn instead to control your own reactions. In every situation, choose the right attitude, for that is the only thing you truly possess. In the modern world, the hardest act is not to move, but to pause. To pause in order to observe, to understand, to avoid reacting impulsively. When we pause, we reclaim control over ourselves. When we react instantly, we surrender that control to the world. The Stoic always maintains a space between stimulus and response. That space is freedom. Between insult and anger, between fear and action, they preserve the clarity to respond with reason, not emotion. And that is the foundation of strength. To pause before speaking, to think before acting, to forgive before resenting. Stoic strength is not rigid resistance. It is the flexibility of one who understands the flow of nature. They do not fight against the waves. They learn to ride them. They do not force life to follow their will. They align themselves with its rhythm, like a skillful rower steering through a swift current. For when we can adapt without losing our essence, that is the highest form of power. The Stoic never lets adversity define them. They use adversity to reveal their character. Ultimately, Stoicism teaches that courage is not the absence of fear, but the act of moving forward despite it. No one is completely immune to anxiety or pain, but the Stoic learns to walk through fear without letting it command them. They understand that courage is not feeling unafraid. It is placing reason above fear. And it is this quiet, unassuming bravery, not loud or boastful, that has shaped some of the most steadfast souls in history. True strength does not need to prove itself with noise. It is expressed through the powerful silence of one who knows who they are and why they live as they do. When people realize they cannot control the flow of life, they begin to learn the art of living in harmony with nature, the very heart of Stoic philosophy. Living according to nature does not mean passivity or surrender. It means acting in alignment with the natural order of the universe, without resistance, without force, and without tormenting ourselves over what cannot be changed. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you, as though you had chosen it." That statement embodies the highest form of wisdom, to turn adversity into a lesson and pain into an opportunity for growth. The Stoic sees life as a great river. They cannot stop the current, but they can learn to swim with it, letting its strength carry them farther instead of pulling them under. On that journey, humility becomes the foundation of strength. Humility is not self-deprecation, but understanding one's limits and respecting the order of the world. People suffer because of the illusion that they can control everything. But when we realize we are only a small part of nature's vast design, we find peace. The Stoic does not need to control the world, for they have already mastered themselves. And once they do, harmony arises naturally, like a single note that knows how to blend into the symphony of the universe instead of trying to overpower it. Epictetus once said, "If you want to be happy, wish for things to happen as they do, not as you want them to." This is the lesson of active acceptance, not resignation. Acceptance does not make us weak. It makes us strong, because we are no longer shaken by what lies beyond our reach. A person may lose everything, yet if they remain calm, they have already triumphed. The Stoic does not measure life by what they gain, but by how they live when there is nothing left to gain. When everything external collapses, only character and virtue remain. And these are what define a person's true worth. The modern world convinces people that happiness comes from control, controlling others, outcomes, even the future. Yet the irony is that the more we try to control, the less free we become. Stoicism points to the opposite truth. Freedom comes from letting go. When we stop forcing the world to match our desires, it suddenly becomes more bearable. When we stop fighting reality, we free our energy to improve ourselves. And when we change ourselves, we not only live better, we help make the world better. True strength is knowing that while we cannot control the wind, we can learn to set our sails. Ultimately, the Stoic understands that living in harmony with nature is not submission. It is awareness. They act with reason, accept with peace, and love with compassion. In every circumstance, they remember that they are part of something greater, small, yet essential. And so they live with deep gratitude, grateful for life despite its flaws, grateful for adversity for teaching resilience, grateful for time for reminding us that everything is precious. That is the image of true strength, the one who lives in harmony with the world without being dissolved by it, who knows that happiness is not found in avoiding the storm, but in learning to soar with it on the steady wings of the soul. Stoicism does not teach people to seek strength from the outside. It teaches them to discover the source of strength within themselves. That strength does not come from power, wealth, or domination, but from the ability to govern one's own mind and actions. In moments of weakness, the Stoic does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "What can I learn from this?" By changing the question, one changes the way they see the world. Every hardship becomes an opportunity, every failure a lesson, and every loss a training ground for the soul. The strong do not avoid pain. They face it as a blacksmith faces fire, knowing that only through flame can iron become steel. Inner strength, in Stoic philosophy, is not cold detachment, but calm understanding. The Stoic does not deny emotion. They simply refuse to let emotion rule them. They know that anger, fear, and sorrow are parts of being human, but they do not define the whole of it. When emotions rise, the Stoic watches them as one observes a river flowing past, without judgment, without resistance. And when the waves subside, they remain unmoved. Their strength lies in stability, not because life has no storms, but because they have learned not to be carried away by them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be like the rock against which the waves crash, unmoved, and when the foam subsides, it stands still, calm, and proud of itself. This speaks not only of endurance, but of the strength found in tranquility. The strong do not avoid the waves. They learn to stand firm within them. And in that confrontation, they find freedom. When we no longer fear adversity, adversity loses its power over us. When we no longer fear loss, life opens up before us. The Stoic's power is quiet, not flashy, not loud, but deep enough that nothing can shake it. Today, amid crowded cities and relentless pace, such strength is rare. Modern life breeds fear. Fear of being forgotten, of falling behind, of getting hurt. People are haunted by the illusion of perfection that society projects, and when they fail to meet it, they call themselves failures. But the Stoic would say, no one fails who remains true to what is right. Success is not measured by how many we surpass, but by how many times we rise above our own weakness. One may lose in the game of the world, but if they keep their honesty and compassion, they have won the game of the soul. And that is why the Stoic always seeks balance between action and stillness, between reason and emotion, between firmness and flexibility. They understand that reason without compassion makes one cold, while compassion without reason leaves one fragile. True strength is the harmony of both, strong enough not to fall, gentle enough not to wound others. That is why Stoicism has endured for over 2 millennia. It does not only teach us how to stand firm, but how to live kindly. And in a world full of conflict, perhaps there is no power greater than a calm heart guided by compassion. In Stoic philosophy, there is a concept regarded as the jewel of wisdom, ataraxia, meaning the state of absolute tranquility of the mind, where one is no longer disturbed by fear, ambition, or anger. It is not indifference, but an understanding so deep that nothing can throw us off balance. When we realize that all things are temporary, we no longer grieve too deeply over loss, nor cling too tightly to gain. Like someone watching the clouds drift by, the Stoic understands that the very nature of clouds is to dissolve. Thus, they do not resist the current of life. They flow with it, fully aware of where they are going, why they go, and what is truly worth holding on to along the way. This serenity cannot be achieved through theory or prayer alone. It must be trained daily. Marcus Aurelius spent long nights in a war tent, surrounded by the clash of swords, writing reflections on resilience and acceptance. He was not an escapist, but a man who looked directly at reality with both reason and compassion. He understood that only when the mind is free from fear can one act with true clarity. That is the goal of Stoicism, not to erase emotion, but to master it, to ensure emotions serve reason rather than rule it. In the modern world, where everything urges us to react instantly, the ability to remain still has become a rare form of strength. Social media makes us anger faster, desire more, and compare endlessly. People get trapped in the cycle of react, judge, regret, forgetting that peace only comes when we know how to pause. Stoicism teaches, before speaking, ask, is what I am about to say truly necessary? Before acting, ask, does this come from reason or from emotion? Before judging others, remember, I am not so different from them. When these questions guide us, we begin to live slower, clearer, and less unconsciously swept away by the noise of the world. Epictetus once said, if someone offends you, do not think he is wrong. Think that he merely sees things from a different perspective. This is the mirror of compassion forged by reason. The Stoic does not get angry because others are unlike them. They understand that each person walks a different path. Thus, they do not seek to change others, but to refine themselves. When we stop seeing the world as a battlefield of winners and losers, and instead as a mirror reflecting our own growth, we begin to touch real peace. And in that peace, there is no space for resentment, only understanding, the only force capable of healing wounds that logic alone cannot reach. Success, in the light of Stoic philosophy, is the ability to maintain ataraxia amid the chaos of life. Not everyone can reach it, but striving toward it already transforms us. For nothing is more precious than a peaceful mind, where fear dissolves, anger is understood, and desire becomes pure. When we live with such calmness, every action carries weight, every word holds meaning, and every hardship becomes a natural part of existence. The Stoic's strength, therefore, does not roar amid the storm. It breathes quietly within it. It is the strength of one who understands that the greatest victory is not conquering the world, but mastering oneself. The Stoics believed that the greatest strength of a human being does not lie in the power to change the world, but in the ability to live well within an imperfect one. Everything around us, people, circumstances, fate, can betray our expectations. Yet instead of resenting that, the Stoic learns to adjust those expectations, so the heart is no longer stretched between disappointment and desire. As Seneca once said, "When you expect something too eagerly, you give it the power to hurt you." The strong do not place their happiness in anyone's hands. They keep it in the one place it cannot be taken from, their own mind. When everything external collapses, that inner sanctuary becomes the final refuge of peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Live as if you had already died, and now you have been granted another life. Live it as if it were a gift." The words sound somber, yet they carry a profound reminder about the value of time. To the Stoic, each day is a new chance to live rightly, to act with purpose, to speak when necessary, and remain silent when needed. They understand that everything can end at any moment, and it is precisely that awareness that makes them live more mindfully, more kindly. When we recognize that time is finite, we stop wasting it on anger, envy, or resentment. Instead, we choose love, forgiveness, and virtue, not for reward, but because it is the only way to live in peace. In Stoic thought, memento mori, remember that you will die, is not a grim warning, but a key to freedom. When we accept the finiteness of life, fear loses its hold. Without fear, we live more completely. The Stoic does not see death as an end, but as a reminder that every breath today is precious. They neither postpone joy nor indulge endlessly in sorrow. They live each day as if it were their last chance to be human. And in that awareness, even the smallest things, a glance, a word, a gesture, gain profound meaning. True strength lies in cherishing life so deeply that not a single moment is allowed to pass in vain. The modern world teaches people to seek immortality through fame, technology, or legacy. But the Stoic finds immortality in every moment lived rightly. A kind act, a wise thought, an honest choice. These are their ways of touching eternity. For when one lives by reason and virtue, one aligns with the order of the universe, where every noble soul leaves a mark, not through power, but through moral influence. Thus, even when the body fades, the spirit endures in the current of humanity. The Stoics' courage lies in accepting death without fear, knowing they have lived without betraying what is right. To live as a Stoic is to live simply, yet not shallowly, calmly, yet never indifferently. They do not seek perfection, but truth. They do not flee from emotion, but understand and master it. When anger arises, they learn silence. When sorrow comes, they find meaning in loss. When success arrives, they stay humble. When failure strikes, they remain hopeful. This is the path of steadfast souls, those who understand that life need not be easy, only meaningful. And that meaning is not given. It is forged day by day, choice by choice, thought by thought, in silence, in patience, and in strength. When people realize that strength does not come from resisting life, but from understanding and harmonizing with it, they begin to see everything through new eyes. They no longer view adversity as an enemy, but as a stern teacher. They no longer see failure as the end, but as the beginning of growth. The Stoics understood that no one becomes strong without once being weak, and no one becomes wise without once being lost. Every wound, when examined with reason and perseverance, becomes a mark of wisdom. Seneca once wrote, "There is no favorable wind for the sailor who doesn't know where he is going." That line reminds us that only with a clear purpose can hardship transform into the wind that propels us forward. Marcus Aurelius faced illness, war, rebellion, and even betrayal from those close to him. Yet he wrote, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path." This was not just a philosophy, it was the very spirit of Stoicism, to turn obstacles into opportunities and suffering into strength. For when we cannot change our circumstances, the only thing we can change is how we see them. If we treat every challenge as a test set by nature, we learn to face it calmly rather than resentfully. The Stoic does not ask, "Why me?" but rather, "Why not me?" They believe that every trial is sent to the one who has the potential to grow through it. In today's world, where people often give up at the first sign of failure, Stoicism becomes a map for those seeking inner strength. Modern life is not less painful than in the past. It simply hides its struggles behind subtler forms: work stress, invisible anxiety, endless comparison on social media. These are the battlefields of the mind, where the weak are swept away by fear and chaos. But the Stoic knows how to walk through that battlefield without letting their soul be wounded. They hold on to one unshakable truth: everything can be taken from us, except how we choose to respond. Epictetus taught, "When someone offends you, it is not their problem, it is your test." That lesson forces us to look inward every time we face frustration. When someone hurts us, we have two choices: to react like them or to rise above them. When life challenges us, we can either collapse in fear or stand up with the calm smile of one who knows this is only a chapter in a longer journey. The strong do not avoid storms. They learn to walk through them without losing themselves. They understand that the violent wind that threatens to break them is the same force that makes their wings stronger, and only those who dare to fly through the storm can ever reach the real sky. And when they emerge from life's storms, the Stoics do not grow proud, they grow humble. They understand that true strength is not domination, but the ability to remain unbroken by pain. When we no longer fear loss, we are no longer enslaved by it. When we no longer hate adversity, we find freedom even within hardship. Success, in the Stoic light, is not reaching the peak. It is remaining calm when pushed into the abyss. For in that lowest place, we truly understand the value of resilience, the one light that never fades, no matter how much of the world around us falls apart. Stoic philosophy teaches, you cannot choose the cards fate deals you, but you can choose how to play them. Within that simple truth lies profound wisdom. Real strength is not about conditions, but about response. Each of us is dealt a different hand. Some are born into wealth, others into poverty. Some enjoy good health, others endure illness. Some grow up in peace, others amidst storms. But what sets people apart is not the cards themselves, but how they are played. The Stoic does not complain about fate. They turn every circumstance into a lesson. In failure, they learn patience. In betrayal, they learn forgiveness. In loss, they learn to let go. And through each lesson, they become steadier, freer, and wiser. Epictetus, once a slave, proved this truth through his own life. Even in chains, he said, "My body may be imprisoned, but my mind cannot be." That is the highest form of freedom. When a person realizes that no one can harm their soul unless they allow it. True power does not lie in control over others, but in self-mastery. The Stoic does not need authority to feel strong, because they have mastered the hardest thing to control, themselves. And when one can govern their own mind, nothing in the world can conquer them. In today's world, surrounded by endless temptations, that lesson becomes even more vital. Every day we face countless distractions, negative news, judgmental opinions, pressure to succeed, fear of being left behind. Without inner strength, we are swept away without even noticing. The Stoic chooses another way: to slow down, stay calm, observe, and then respond. They understand that not everything demands a reaction. Silence at times is the most powerful answer. Calmness, at times, is the highest form of courage. And in a world where everyone rushes to speak and act, the one who pauses to reflect holds the deepest advantage. Seneca once warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How often do we torment ourselves over things that haven't happened, inflate our fears, and invent tragedies that steal our present peace? The Stoic learns to return to the now, the present moment. They do not worry about tomorrow or grieve for yesterday, knowing that the past cannot be changed and the future cannot yet be controlled. They live fully in the present, doing the best they can with what they have right now. And in that focus, they find what most people have lost: serenity. For the Stoics, strength is not the absence of fear, but the wisdom to act rightly amid fear. It is not the absence of pain, but the ability to turn pain into a teacher. It is not the absence of failure, but the grace to rise again without resentment. When we stop fighting life, we begin to learn how to live with it. And when we learn to live with it, we realize that nothing truly stands against us. There are only lessons trying to teach us something. Once we understand this, fear loses its grip. We walk calmly through the storms of life, knowing that within every tempest, a light is hidden, the quiet resilience of the soul. The Stoics believed that human beings were not born to escape suffering, but to transcend it. Life is not a path strewn with roses, but a series of trials meant to forge the soul. Every pain, if faced with reason, becomes a step toward enlightenment. Seneca once wrote, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests virtue." This was not mere encouragement, but a law of nature. Just as steel must pass through fire to gain its strength, humans must endure hardship to grow resilient. The Stoic does not ask why life is hard. They are grateful that hardship reveals who they truly are. In Stoic philosophy, strength is not found in avoiding pain, but in transforming it into power, so that each fall becomes a rise, stronger than before. Epictetus, who once lived as a slave, endured humiliations that few could bear. Yet within that suffering, he discovered freedom. He understood that if the mind remains unbroken, no chain can imprison it. His teaching, freedom begins the moment we stop depending on what we cannot control, became a compass for generations. The Stoic does not seek to shatter external chains, but to unlock the inner ones: fear, hatred, and illusion. When the mind is liberated, one becomes unconquerable. Marcus Aurelius, looking at the night sky amid war, wrote in his journal, "If a stone is thrown to the ground, it does not complain that it cannot fly. It simply falls according to its nature. So too must I live according to mine." These words are not just a reminder, but a philosophy of acceptance and harmony. The Stoics believed that everything in the universe has its place and purpose, and that true happiness comes when one lives in accordance with that purpose. Rather than wasting energy resisting what cannot be changed, they direct their strength toward perfecting themselves. In that harmony, they find tranquility, a quiet happiness untouched by the chaos of the world. The modern world teaches people that happiness comes from having more wealth, more power, more recognition. But the Stoic teaches the opposite. Happiness comes from needing less. The less we need, the less we fear losing. The less we fear, the freer we become. They live simply not out of rejection of the world, but to avoid being enslaved by it. A Stoic can sit in a palace and remain peaceful, or dwell in a humble hut and feel fulfilled. For them, the value of life does not depend on where one lives, but on how one lives there. The Stoics saw life as a play directed by God or nature, and we as the actors. We cannot choose our role, but we can choose how we perform it. And when the curtain falls, what matters is not whether our role was long or short, but whether we played it with dignity. That is the essence of Stoic strength: to live fully, to act with virtue, and to leave the stage of life with a serene smile. The Stoic does not fear the end, for they understand that every ending is merely the beginning of another cycle. Like a flame that leaves its warmth long after it fades, the spirit of a steadfast soul continues to shine in the hearts of those who live guided by reason and compassion. When one reaches the deepest understanding of Stoicism, they begin to see that strength is no longer a struggle against circumstance, but a journey toward harmony with the order of the universe. What Marcus Aurelius called logos, the soul of the world. Within that universe, everything has its reason for being, whether we comprehend it or not. Every event, every loss, every pain is a link in a greater chain where humanity is but one small part. Once we understand this, we no longer ask, "Why did this happen to me?" but instead, "How can this help me grow?" We learn that everything is in its rightful place. Even suffering has its purpose. And in the moment we accept this truth, we arrive at a serenity so profound that nothing can disturb it. Epictetus once compared life to a banquet. If a fine dish is placed before you, receive it with gratitude. If it has not yet come, wait patiently. And if it has passed, smile and leave the table in peace. Such a way of living is not resignation, but awareness. The Stoic knows that life owes us no joy, nor does it deliberately bring us pain. It simply is. When we stop forcing life to follow our will, we begin to see its natural beauty, not because it is perfect, but because we have stopped comparing it to our illusions. In that simplicity, we find freedom. Freedom from expectation, from resentment, from endless desire. Stoic philosophy does not tell us to withdraw from the world to find peace. It teaches us to find peace within the world. One can live amid the clamor of the marketplace and remain as serene as a monk in the mountains. For peace is not a matter of place, but of perception. When the mind is clear, the world appears clear. When the mind is clouded, the world darkens. The Stoic chooses to live as a lamp in the night, unable to banish all darkness, yet bright enough to illuminate their own path and guide the lost. They understand that as long as that light burns, however small, life retains its meaning. Seneca once wrote, "No road is too long for the one who walks slowly and never stops." That line becomes a gentle counsel to those exhausted by the pursuit of success. For strength is not about speed, but persistence. To keep walking, step by step, even when the road is long and uncertain. The world will change, others may turn away, but the steadfast remain unshaken. They know that everything passes: joy, sorrow, glory, and defeat. What remains is how we have lived. And if each step was taken with integrity, then even without reaching the destination, the journey itself is a victory. And when one grasps all these truths, the Stoic becomes the embodiment of an indestructible strength, the strength of a free soul. They may lose everything, yet never lose themselves. They may fall, but never yield. For within them, the light of reason still burns, a flame that cannot be extinguished by the darkness of the world. They do not seek immortality through fame, but through action, not through noise, but through the profound silence of wisdom. And it is that silence, the silence of understanding, compassion, and courage, that echoes the longest through the history of humankind. In the end, Stoic philosophy is not merely a doctrine, it is a way of life, an art of existing with dignity amid the unpredictable. It teaches us that life does not promise fairness, yet we can still live with justice. It does not promise peace, yet we can still live with calm. It does not promise glory, yet we can still live with self-respect. Success, in its truest form, is not standing atop the world, but standing firm within the storm of one's own soul. When a person can remain composed in failure, kind in bitterness, and loving after being wounded, that is when they have achieved a victory the world cannot comprehend. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Live like a soldier of the universe, not for victory, but for duty." The Stoic sees life as a battle without enemies, for the true adversary lies within: fear, arrogance, resentment, and anger. Each day is a confrontation with these inner foes, and only through reason, compassion, and perseverance can we overcome them. Success does not mean eradicating them entirely, but recognizing when they arise and refusing to let them command us. The strong are not those untouched by temptation, but those who understand it and choose to rise above it. Stoicism does not call us to withdraw from life, but to love it in its most mature form. To love is not to cling, but to understand and accept. To love people despite their flaws. To love the world despite its pain. To love life despite its brevity. For love, when guided by reason, becomes a force of strength, not weakness. The Stoic loves life not because it is easy, but because it is real. They do not pray for an ideal world. They simply strive to live rightly in this one. And in doing so, they become symbols of harmony between intellect and humanity. Two eternal flames burning side by side within the human soul. When we release all illusions and embrace truth, we find the purest form of freedom. No more fear, no more resentment, no more dependence on outcomes, only the clear stillness of understanding. In that stillness, we realize we are no different from the universe itself, vast, enduring, and full of order. There is no need to seek life's meaning elsewhere, for living rightly, consciously, and kindly is the meaning. The Stoic does not crave recognition or immortality in history, for they know that every act of goodness sends a ripple into eternity, and those ripples never fade. And when the soul reaches that peace, success is no longer a destination, but a natural state of being. There is no need to prove, to argue, or to possess, only to live, like a flame glowing quietly in the dark, not complaining, not boasting, simply shining. For true strength lies not in how long we live, but in how deeply, so deeply, that time itself cannot erase us. Stoicism endures across millennia, not because of grand speeches, but because of quiet lives lived by its principles. And perhaps, when humanity finally understands this, that happiness is the result of courage, not circumstance, that will be the moment we are not only successful in life, but free in spirit.